So ma'am, when you think about an animal, do you see an object or do you see an individual?
So far an individual, yes.
Individual, right? So individuals are supposed to have rights. So don't you think it's wrong that we use and exploit animals for food, clothing?
100%.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So you are against violating rights of sentient beings, right? We shouldn't be violating animals. So do you consume animal products?
I very much was. 2 months ago, I planned to change into being a vegetarian, and that was for my own personal reasons. So, yeah, it's been 2 months since I've had non-veg as of now.
Okay. So what made you change? What made you a vegetarian?
I have a personal reason of turning down with health, so I thought, okay, let's not go in for non-vegetarian. I was a non-vegetarian right from my childhood. So I come from a marine background, so we consume a lot of seafood, and that's how it was. But it's just of my personal interest in the last 2 months because my health was deteriorating. I thought, okay, let's not go in for that.
Okay. So you stopped consuming meat.
Yeah.
So now you think animals are individuals.
No, I was initially also considering them as individuals, but I was still consuming non-veg. I would not deny on it.
Okay. So for health reasons you changed, and now you're not going to go back. Right.
Yeah, I'm not planning to go back for sure.
Okay. So you will never eat animals.
Yeah, I was having chicken. That was one thing that I was consuming. Of course, I had a lot of friends who were saying that, if you have a pet at your place, how can you have this? But that was something that I was born with, and I didn't really give it a thought that, okay, I should stop for this particular reason. Never did I have that thought.
Okay, so when you had this thought, you didn't have anything to say against. You agreed with what your friend said, right?
Yeah, I definitely did.
Okay, so you understand that animals are sentient beings, they shouldn't be exploited. That's why you stopped consuming meat, right?
Yeah, meat was, very honestly, I told you that it was for a health reason that I didn't want to go in for any more non-veg. That was the reason. But I've always considered them to be kind and nice, and it was a very different perspective.
Okay, so now that you understand it's unnecessary, you're not going to eat animals again. And you see them as individuals. So ma'am, it's not just about eating meat. Do you consume animal products like dairy, egg?
No, I don't. Egg, I don't.
Okay.
That's because I've never liked egg. But be it whatever reason, I did not consume egg for that. Milk, I've never never really consumed because we have a calf in our place. My mom has a very different understanding towards consumption of milk. So me, my mother, none of them from at least my genealogy, we don't consume milk.
Okay, so I'm trying to understand. You have a calf in your place, so you used to milk animals.
No, we don't. That milk is only for the calf.
So
The
you have
mother-
animals at your home, what you're saying.
We have a cow.
You have a cow,
In our
you have a
farmland,
calf,
yeah.
but you don't milk that cow.
No.
So it's like shelter for that cow.
No, that calf consumes milk only for its mother. That's it. It's not for our use.
So you don't take milk from the cow.
No.
So since when that cow is in your place?
It's been 12 years now.
So what is the purpose of that? Why did you bring that cow there?
My mom loves cows. She likes the cattle farm and the whole of it. That is why we have a cow.
Okay, so you have a cow and a calf, but you're not milking them. And no one consumes milk in your home. So how old is that cow?
Right now it's about 5. There are 5 more cows that we have. It put another baby, it put another baby, another baby.
How is that even possible? How is the cow getting pregnant then?
There are like 2 cows, but there's one bull, there's one ox, and there's a cow.
So there are bulls and cows, and you're not milking them. So how many animals do you have then?
5 along with the cow.
5 animals. How many cows? How many bulls?
I'm not really sure of that.
Oh, it's in your home.
No, it's not in my house. It's in a farmhouse in Ongole. I have the
Okay, it's a
pictures of it.
farmhouse, and they don't milk these animals.
No, how many of them are there? That count, I really don't know. Like I told, as of my knowledge, there are 5.
See, the thing is, when someone has to be pregnant and give a baby, there has to be a process, right? Either natural, or either they'll be forcefully mated, or they'll be artificial insemination. So your bull means, they are naturally mated.
Yeah, obviously.
So they will have a baby like every year.
Yeah.
So every year, regardless of their gender, you are keeping them. So why are we even doing that? Because you're not milking them, and you're keeping animals.
So we have millets and a lot of things at our place. So we have like pulses, millets and all of it. And it helps in dung and everything. So we use that as manure. And then we feed. We have a whole place for it to feed through. So it consumes and it still gives us whatever it requires for us to ensure that the farming continues.
But I'm trying to understand, when you are maintaining 5 animals, that's a huge expense because I eat a lot of food. So how can you recover this expense by keeping these animals?
True, that is what my parents are for. So they are producing a lot of crops so that they can give it for those animals, right?
So how are you profiting then?
We don't get much profit. But she has a great vision towards organic farming and having taught a lot of people, and she basically does lectures as well. She just wants to ensure giving a lot of kids a nutritious food as much as possible. So she has farm, and a lot of people, in fact there are a lot of veterinary universities kids coming and taking a look at our farm. A lot of people from the agriculture background coming and taking a look at
So
it.
basically you're raising crops and using animals for plowing fields, stuff like that. For farming.
Yeah.
Okay, so using animals for farming. So ma'am, what is your opinion about child labor, ma'am, I ask?
I feel sorry about child labor.
Right, because even if a child consents to child labor, it's still wrong. Because we cannot use children for labor, right? The thing with animals is, animals cannot give us consent. So if we are using animals, don't you think that itself is wrong? Because anything that we do to an animal should be in the best interest of that animal. They cannot consent to us, they are like children. Right. So don't you think using animals is wrong in that sense?
Yes, 100%. But I've not really thought of this being like an offense so far until somebody actually came up to me telling that this is how the perspective is like, because you're using. To us, what we thought is we are not harming them. We have shelter for them. There's good amount of food that is happening. My mom has always personally taken care of every single pet, just like, if you're petting another animal, like let's say you have a cow at your place, or let's not even talk of cows, let's have a conversation of you having a little dog at your place. And for some reason you're giving it food and you're definitely not going to utilize whatever it has to do for it. But we also have a cow, so it was like that same concept for me. We didn't really think in a way that we were hurting it, because we thought, okay, we are not milking it for any purpose of ours. We were using it manure, and we ensured that we utilize it for our farm. So that was our thought.
Yeah.
Had we had somebody telling us that this was also a way that you can think about, maybe we would have had a thought of it.
See, like I said, when it comes to human rights, killing is not the only thing that is wrong, right? If you are forcing someone to do something against their will, that is wrong. Because it has to be consensual. And we can't use children, because children cannot do labor. When it comes to animals, see, whatever we do to an animal should be in the best interest of that animal. Right? So killing is not the only thing that is wrong. Just because you're not harming an individual doesn't mean that individual likes what we do to him or her, right? As far as human beings are concerned. Same with animals. So when you're doing something to them, it should be in the best interest of that animal. If I'm taking a dog and rescuing a dog and giving that dog medicine, it's good for the dog. But if I use an animal, I ride on a horse, if I use an animal for grazing, plowing, whatever, I'm not doing it for the animal. I'm doing it for my greed. That is wrong, right? So we should see animals as individuals. Because they're sentient beings, they're individuals, they value their lives. So whatever we do to them should be the best interest of that animal. So we shouldn't be using or exploiting them in any ways.
True, but how do we understand, or if there is some help that we can get now with a lot of awareness, what is it like helping them out? Or do we have another place? Because I do not have this awareness. If you have somebody who is a psychologist or an animal psychologist, not just irrespective to one particular group of animals, then you can actually tell us, so we'll also be understanding that this is how it has to look at. Because for us, we only treat animals, or at least let's say in the cows that we have in our house or the pets that we have in our house, we have it in a thought that they are little like a little kids. But of course, yes, we really had a mentality thinking, okay, fine, they need a shelter. Just because we leave them off, they'd go up somewhere. So we probably tie them to a place so that in the night they don't go out, or their kids are there. But otherwise, there's protection and there's everything. So if this thought was given to us a little more, maybe we would have been a lot more careful. But what I would like to say is, if there's somebody, if there's any contact of your people there where you can tell us that this is the place where you can reach out and they will help you out with how they feel and emotions. Because my granddad was a veterinary doctor and he had a rule of having a pet in every house. So to me, a lot of things contradict in my conversation, because we had a pet, but we are also keeping it under shelter. So there might be so many things that could be against the thought of an activist. So for me, what's more important, if somebody educates me, maybe we can treat it a lot more better. That will help me also, it will help my parents also. At least we'll be a better example to tell the other ones. So this is one.
So as an individual, what we can do is we can choose not to exploit animals. So if you have a farm, you can choose not to use animals to plowing and all, right? And of course, if you think expenses are too much, you can give them to a sanctuary. That's a good option, right? So as an individual level, you can choose not to exploit animals. And of course, you can raise awareness and tell more people to see them as individuals, not to use or exploit them. That's what we can do.
Now this Now, I wouldn't want to be the person who will like, I'll just change immediately. It would take time to explain people whom even at least try to understand them. But it will be of great help if I get some help also from somebody who's already aware of this, so that we'll try to take slow moves and then at least do. Because I can't take a move right at once and ensure that this goes.
I mean, right at once in the sense in regards to concepts of animal products or with the animals in your farm?
Everything. Deal with everything. Now, I've turned a vegetarian the last 2 months. It's even difficult for me to explain people at my house why I've turned a vegetarian. They come up with a lot of thoughts. Their ideology is different. So it's going to be a slow process. I can take extreme steps, but that would only help me. That doesn't help another person. So I, as an individual, if I can change, I think that will be the biggest step that I can take. From then we'll go ahead.
Okay, so what do you mean by extreme steps? Like stop consuming animal products? Do you think?
The only thing I'll be like, don't do that. I will get on a fight. I'll get on an argument. That will be the maximum I can
That's
do.
a different thing. Telling people don't do this. As an individual level, so you're a vegetarian now. You don't consume meat and all. So what is stopping you from giving up on dairy and giving up on animal
I
products?
anyways don't drink milk, right? I've never had.
So you don't consume milk. So you don't consume honey.
I don't consume honey. There is no use of honey in my
You don't wear silk sari or leather jacket.
No, I do not have a leather jacket. Silk saris I do take. Now this is the concept. That's what I'm telling you. So many things now. It doesn't make me think that way. Because until now I didn't consider that okay, even silk saris we're supposed to think that it's an individual.
Yeah, anything that comes from an animal, we should be.
True that. In that case, then we probably have to go back to Stone Age. It is difficult sometimes.
Not really. I mean, there are plenty of other options, right? You don't necessarily have to wear a leather jacket or a silk
No, I
sari.
don't take leather jacket.
Yeah.
See, now even if we have to talk of cotton, now cotton we're talking of it, but then a lot of plants are getting destroyed. So there is some or the other way, there is just so many things that is getting exploited.
You know, veganism doesn't mean living a cruelty-free life. Like you said, for cotton also, crops are getting damaged. We are killing animals for crop farming as well. It's about not exploiting animals. So we can choose not to exploit animals. It's not possible to live a 100% cruelty-free life. It's not possible. So that doesn't mean we kill animals for pleasure. That's the only thing. So veganism doesn't mean living a 100% cruelty-free life. It's definitely not possible. But we can choose not to exploit them for pleasure, for our convenience. We don't have to exploit animals. That's the only thing.
I would completely agree to it.
Yeah.
But then I'll have to start off. Whatever came as a practice in all these years cannot just go away at once.
Since you're not consuming animal products, you don't have to start anything. Since you're not consuming animal products, it's not a big deal. You don't have to start anything, right?
No, I will not because I thought I'll take a decision, let me just stick on to it because for me it was a very different perspective at which I thought. So at least from now I'll just try to keep in mind that okay, this is something that I have to take a look at, so let me not go ahead with it. That is one thing that I can do from my end.
Yeah, of course. It's not possible for us to live a 100% cruelty-free life, but we can definitely choose not to exploit animals, not to kill them for pleasure. That we can do. Right. So for that, we don't have to go to a Stone Age like you said. It's perfectly possible. Yeah. Okay, man.